Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 287 for the 7th of December for the Ukraine war, or the Russian special military operation in Ukraine that Putin basically just say that it will last a long time. And I just want to share something. I'm not sure if it is true. I was scrolling into Kharkiv when I was trying to input one of this information. I realized that the resolution of the satellite image seems to have improved. So what happened is that Google Maps have down resolution the entire of Ukraine, and also remove a lot of the Google Map features in Ukraine in response to help to disable or make it harder for the Russians to find information. And somehow, I remember the resolution not being so sharp. So I'm not sure if it's just my illusion. I just remember it wrongly. But somehow, I just don't remember it to be this sharp. Anyway, the images are also not exactly new. You can see this. I don't remember the airport to be this sharp. But the images are not exactly new. Only certain places might be updated to more modern, more recent satellite images. But most of it doesn't seem to be that to be updated. Even when I go to a region around Donetsk airport, I just find the images to be a lot sharper than I remember. Now I can see the entrenchment so much more clearer. Previously, it just wasn't this clear to me. So anyway, this just something weird that I noticed. So coming back to Putin made a speech, and he said that 150,000 of the troops are still in training. So out of the 300,000, 150,000 is now deployed into the special military operation zone. However, of this, only 77,000 is actually combat troops. The rest are all territorial defense. So in the way, it means that half of this 150,000 is basically in charge of handling the defense within the occupied territory or in the rear, basically. Whilst the other 77,000 is actually meant to do combat operations. And he considered that the special military operation will be a long process, which means that we are not expecting any negotiations from the Russian side anytime soon. It looks like the Russians are going to take a long time to complete this special military operation. So it might be a Syrian situation. And he also warned that Russia will consider nuclear weapons as a response to an attack. However, he also emphasized that Russia would never use nuclear weapon first in any circumstances. So these two sounds like a contradiction. Anyway, all these quotes are from war monitors. So no, I can't understand the full context. But these two sentences do sounds like a contradiction. And there's also some intel regarding Ukrainian Air Force. The Ukrainian Air Force is definitely still well and moving. There is helicopter training reported at Poltava. So the Poltava airport, just check out the image. It's so sharp nowadays. Oh freaking god. Anyway, there is Me-2, Me-8, and Me-24 helicopters are taking off daily, probably for training and ground support. So yeah. I just can't stop admiring how sharp the images now are. Anyway, and then at the Myhorod air base, which is over here, Myhorod air base, their planes are being taken off over from this air base to the Kharkiv region for air support operations for tactical. So they're flying from here all the way to here. It's only merely 300 kilometers. They would probably reach there in 10-15 minutes. Easily. And then they do their operation and then they fly back. So it's far away from the front line, not far enough. So at least this confirms, this information is coming from Riva, and this at least confirmed that the Ukrainian Air Force is still definitely well and alive, and operating quite a number of different kind of aircraft and helicopters. And then we come to missile strikes. So there's two particular missile strikes that I want to highlight. At Kharkiv, So at Kryvyi, which is where I discovered the Google Map seems to be have sharpened a lot. There is 2 HIMARS reportedly destroyed, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, over at this factory region called the ArcelorMittal Steelworks in Kryvyi, and there are also 4 other type of MLRS getting damaged. So reportedly 70 HIMARS rockets were destroyed along with their 2 launchers. So of course the Ukrainian pro-Ukrainian crowd never believed this kind of information. To them, none of the HIMARS was destroyed because HIMARS can do cloaking and teleportation. And over at Bavinkov, there's one S-300 radar that was destroyed, and this is interesting because this is pretty far from the rear, and to know that there's a radar system over there is interesting. I do remember reading about how Sukhoi 57, the new 5th gen Russian fighter, is able to target this sort of target, like radar systems, and it is just interesting to me how far the front line is away from the front line is where they actually hit such targets. There's also another HIMARS that got destroyed over at Malotaranivka, along with 48 rockets or missiles. This is not operational. It is actually in the equipment recovery site, basically a repair site, and so definitely this is a intel given by informants. It seems. If not, you probably wouldn't know, because the HIMARS is actually retired to this area for repairs. So interesting information. And there's also Sukhoi 24 getting shot down over Sofievka, Sukhoi 24. So also very far away from the front line. So the main thing I want to also highlight is basically how far away these things are getting hit, and even fighter jets getting shot down away from the front line. This fighter is at a good 40 to 50 kilometers away from the front line. So the problem with surface-to-air missiles, air defense, probably even counterintelligence are still lacking on the Ukrainian side. And coming to the southern front, over the Kherson front, we do not have any information of fighting over this region. The entire bullshit about Ukrainians are landing over at the Kinbens Spit is entirely debunked by now. We definitely don't have any information about this. So if any YouTubers, content creators, OSINT analysts telling you that this is true, you should just stop watching them or listening to them for good. Don't take information from media sources that kept giving out fake news, be it even mainstream media. You should, because if they keep doing it, they do it once, okay, maybe they made a mistake. Twice, okay, maybe it happens 3, 4, 5 times, 10 times, then you should just start to question, are they just propaganda unit or misinformation units? So then just stop believing them. They are not credible at all, and it will just bring you into a emotional roller coaster and just confuse you. And I think it's kind of stupid to to depend on them for information. Over the Zaporizhia line, for those that are new, why is it called a line? Because it's actually a line of defense stretching from Velika Novosilka all the way to Kayamske here, going through Orivske and Huyaipole. So this entire line is a important defense line the Ukrainians have to hold. And over at the very end of Velika Novosilka, there is fighting reported at Novopil, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And they say that the Ukrainians try to attack the Russian positions over at Novopil. And previously, we mapped Novopil as being captured or controlled by the Ukrainians. After previously, we were put this under Russian control. So we have put back the overlapping mapping, and to show that Novopil is actually being claimed by the Russian Defense Ministry. And I wanted to highlight, because there's a viewer, he was talking to me on Discord. So he was saying that the map is very confusing with the 2 overlapping stuff, and he thinks it's very ugly. I just want to highlight the mapping on DPA's mapping is actually not one map. It's actually 2 maps. I want to repeat again. There's actually two maps on this map. There's a pink map, the red map. This is the Russians' perspective, the pro-Russian mapping, or the pro-Russians perspective of what is the front line is. And then we have the blue map, which is the pro-Ukrainian map, where you think the map or the front line is on the pro-Ukrainian perspective. So there's actually two maps. So when it overlaps, it just simply means that the perspective between the two, there's actually a conflict between their perspective of where the front line is. So it's not about ugly or not ugly, or it's not about things are very confusing, but it's the matter that there is actually two different perspectives about, and there's actually two mappings. So which is why I kept saying that DPA is standing on a very neutral ground. So we have both mappings there. So believe whichever you prefer. So moving on to the Donetsk front, there's fighting reported at Novomayoske, with the Ukrainians launching their continual offensive over here in the southwestern part of Donetsk city, and there's also fighting reported over at Volodymyrivka. And just check out the resolution. You see, since when was Polivka this sharp? And even Voleda, now I can actually zoom in and even see some of the parks. I don't remember being able to do this, so yeah, I just can't stop talking about this. Over at Novomayoske, there's fighting. The Russians are pushing for Novomayoske again, and there's fighting reported at Marinka as the Russians continue to try to overcome the defenses here. Some additional information I'm reading from some pro-Russian source was that the past 2 days or 3 days ago, the Russians are able to use their air force to kind of support the operation over at Marinka, but over the past 24 hours they were not able to, because of the cloudy situation. So the planes did not come to support the operation. Check out this. And moving to the Pisky region. At the Pisky region, we did not receive any information about fighting. However, I did change the colors of some of the entrenchment over here to pink color, because these areas are definitely captured by the Russian forces already. So which is why I changed the colors from blue to pink, and or to red. And over at the Opine, Spartak region, I have changed the front line a bit, where there's this entrenchment or fortification region over here. It's actually under Ukrainian control. This is according to the Suryak maps. So according to Suryak maps, the Russian forces have captured this area here, this entrenchment here, and the Ukrainians are still holding up this one. Very interesting that he gets such information. I really didn't see the sources for these things, so very cool. But generally I do not go so granular. I don't go into tactical coverage because it gets too much. But since we have the information, we will just update the map accordingly. Moving on to the New York front. The New York front, nothing is happening. So the entire attack, over at Shumi and towards New York at Zelizny, all these are probably just a one-off. Maybe they just try to prop the line. Maybe it's just a diversionary attack. So it did not sustain. So no more fighting over here. The fighting reported at Novobakhmutivka as well did not continue as well. It seems like a diversionary attack. Over at the region of Mayosk, there is fighting reported by both sides. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported the Russians are attacking over at Mayosk region, whereas the Russian Defense Ministry said that the Ukrainians tried to counterattack towards Mayosk. So fighting continued to wage around this region. There's fighting reported at Ozeryanivka. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, they say that the Ukrainians tried to counterattack. Similarly, the same happened over at Kupiansk. And however, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry do say that the Russians are actually attacking over at Kupiansk region. There's fighting reported at Klishchiivka, with the Ukrainians launching a counteroffensive. And fierce fighting continues over at Opine, with both sides reporting that they are the one defending. There is reinforcement reported at Opine. According to Ryba, the pro-Russian source, they say that 22 mercenaries and several armored vehicles are transferred to the village area. So, very small numbers, because this is also a small place. Fighting is reported over at Bakhmut. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, no details about this. According to Ryba, there is fighting reported at Bohorodny. They say heavy street fightings are happening over at Pogrony, which is actually this area. So let's see, whether the northern offensive over at Bakhmut would actually have anything any results. Over at Bakhmutske, there is fighting reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Oh my god, how many times I need to accidentally pull this? And there is news from Yakovlivka. According to multiple sources, they say that Yakovlivka have been mostly captured by the Russian forces. They are currently doing clearing up operation. They say that the Ukrainian forces have withdrawn from the town, and fighting is already reported north of Yakovlivka towards the Vasily direction. So we shall see whether there's any reports of the capture by the Russian Defense Ministry over the next 2-3 days. There's fighting reported at Bilohorivka as well as Berestove, with the Russians continue to fight in this area. There's no fighting reported at Sperne region, Yakovlivka, over the Sivas front. However, there's still, the Luhansk People's Republic are still trying to recapture Bilohorivka, just next to the Seversky Donetsk River. And wow, my god. Okay, moving to the Kremmina front. At the Kremmina front, the Russian Defense Ministry for the second day mentioned this very vague information about Russian forces carrying out offensive in the Krasny Liman direction. I actually did not map this the day before. I did see such information because I didn't know where to map it. But with the second day that they re-emphasized this, I have put this around here, indicating this entire area here in the between Kremmina and Liman city. So this Liman city, this Kremmina. In between here, there is a Russian offensive that is ongoing. Specific details is unavailable. There is fighting reported at Shcherbino-Popivka, with the Ukrainians trying to attack towards this direction. However, there is also information saying that the Russians are actually attacking. Sorry, the first one was the Ukrainians and Ryba saying that the Russians are attacking, and then there is also information from Ryba itself also that there is a Ukrainian counteroffensive towards Shcherbino-Popivka. There's reinforcement reported at Nevsky. 50 soldiers from the 125th Battalion of the 113th Territorial, I think it's Territorial, TRO, I'm not too sure, and have arrived at Nevsky region. And there is also exchange of fighting between that Ploshonka region, so very chunky over here. Moving up north, there around the Svetove region, there is the Russian attack towards Stemakivka. This has been a long ongoing thing with the Russians trying to capture Stemakivka, and there is bombardment near Novoselivsky. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, they actually shelled multiple locations of accumulation of forces by the Ukrainians in Oshana, Kislovska, Berestove, and Novoselivskoye. So basically, it's Novoselivsky, Berestove over here, further up north at Kaislivka, as well as south of Vyshana, or it could be on the western side, either one, basically near Vyshana. And this is new because the Ukrainians have not been fighting over at this region here in the northeastern part of Kupiansk for some time. So this bombardment on the accumulation of Ukrainian forces near Vyshana is interesting in my opinion. And over at the Kharkiv front, so long time haven't heard of the Happy Front, right? There is a Russian attack on the Ternova, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. But I believe this is just a raid. It's not an offensive of any form, because a proper offensive will not be just only at one location. It will probably see a multiple locations reports fighting. So no, this is probably just a raid. And I believe that's everything. So please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed, and please press the like button. I think the SITREPs will probably be transferred or move over to the DPA war channel entirely, probably at the turn of the year. So until the end of the month, tentatively I still plan to keep the Ukraine SITREP over here at the main channel. But as we go along, I will be covering more and more about other places, like Israel, Middle East, Myanmar. So eventually we do have to move. So please subscribe to both channels because to support my work, and please press the like button to help to push this to more viewers. And if you can, please share this to your friends and contacts and on your social media. This will help the channel to reach new audiences that I previously do not have. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.